I'm going to do it right now. Okay, I'm official. I've got it done. I want to ask you a question about this, which is, why do you think everybody's here? On a slightly cold, pretty windy, it's going to get windier. We're pretty well bundled.
We need it
We need it, says Jan.
for a sense of community. It's been feeling so isolated.
Sense of community, feels too isolated, alone. And we're going through so much right in this world, in this time, and can also, can't we, when we recognize the constant flux, expanding and contracting of life, right? The birthing and death thing, said the Buddha. The coming and going, it's all the same. The rising and falling, that's why we watch the breath. We're training. Can I see the rising and falling breath and still make contact with the unmoving quality of mind? The unmoving quality. Now, by the way, that unmoving, don't mistake it for uncaring, because in fact, it says without attention, the unmoving quality of mind, there can be no connection. Isn't that true? Without that which is right in contact, present, steady, without that attention, there is no capacity for connection. And without connection, contact, there can be no interbeing. There can be no separation, dissolving. There is just that object and this object, right? Me, the viewer, and you, the view. You become simply an object unless we work towards, and now we're going to talk about the methodologies for these practices that say in samadhi, following shamatha, there is the falling away of all separation. In samadhi, the falling away, and even then in the 3 rings of the bell, you will have what? That capacity remembered, that you can then take out to this person and that situation and this difficulty with a few factors. What are those factors? Stability of mind, openness of heart, and the recognition of the interconnection, the interbeing of all things. That unity is sometimes, or sometimes the words you'll see are concentration, unity, absorption, oneness, right? We could use all those words, and then we could even use words like we-ness, right? No longer me-ness and you-ness. That falls away because it's a delusion and false, right? So do we see how just sitting here now in the practice we're going to do is actually going to be of some of our greatest support towards then going out into the world and what? Remembering, recognizing, and seeing clearly with what? Non-ill will, non-aggression, non-hatred. Not, we use the words non because it says your true self, not lost in some mindscape, right? And then we feel for who? Everyone. I feel as much for the Russian soldiers. I'm watching interviews, they make me cry. Who are they? 18-year-old kids whose mothers don't even know they're there because they weren't told. Russian families did not understand, by the way, what was happening. They were told what? They were going to be on practice missions, right? What are the Russian kids doing? Crying. This is not, we don't want to be here. This wasn't, right? And crying for 2 reasons, by the way. Has anybody seen these interviews? They're crying because they didn't want to be there to cause harm. And they're crying because they're being cared for. By who? The Ukrainians. The Ukrainian mother makes me cry, holding up a video so the Russian soldier could talk to his mom. Like, right, this is essential, right? So you can talk to your mom. She doesn't even know where you are. That's the result of the methodologies of these practices, that you don't get lost in these moments of reactivity, even when there's aggression being levied against you. You go, wait a minute, I know something, you're in suffering. And your suffering can be stopped right now by my not adding suffering, right, to your suffering. So do we get this idea? And so samadhi, another word for that would be practicing peace, wouldn't it? Because that's the way to it. I'm like you, you're like me. We're not separate, no matter what part of the world we're from, no matter who's running our country, because look at how that could have gone for us, right? Like someone or not like someone's not the point. So we're going to be practicing peace in another way today. Carrie sent me something. I'm going to ask Carrie to read it. And then I'm going to read something else. And then we are going to go about the practice of shamatha to samadhi to non-separation. Non-separation. Let's just think of it that way. Right? Non-separate. The truth of all things. Non-separation. That means seeing clearly the reality of things. No longer me and you. It's like in the oneness, in the we-ness, in the, if you are hurt, I am hurt. If you are harmed, I am harmed. If you have ease, I have ease, in that truth. And that is the essential teachings, isn't it? These are the essential bottom line teachings of, I believe, all spiritual traditions. All right, Carrie.
This is a mindful,
Poonam, we have a chair here also. I apologize.
a mindful prayer for peace.
A mindful prayer for peace. Can you, are you on mic?
Too many.
I'm going to turn my.
Now can you hear? For those who are fleeing sanctuary,
Take this and turn it. I want people to. As we prepare to sit, establishing yourself in an alert, dignified. You're sitting for all beings here. This is way past you now. And we've already set that aspiration. We've already set that intention. There can be no confusion, can there then, about the benefits or necessity of your practice. Leanne, you can come in here. Right here. And so here's another offering by Anne Weems. On the edge of war, 1 foot already in, I no longer pray for peace. I pray for miracles. I pray that stone hearts will turn to tenderheartedness and evil intentions will turn to mercifulness. And all the soldiers already deployed will be snatched out of harm's way, and the whole world will be astounded onto its knees. I pray that all the God talk will take bones and stand up and shed its cloak of faithlessness and walk again in its powerful truth, the truth of our interbeing. I pray that the whole world might sit down together and share its bread and its wine. Some say there is no hope, but then I've always applauded the holy fools who never seem to give up on the scandalousness of our humanness. That way, we are loved by God. We are loved truly by one another. I no longer pray for peace. I pray for miracles. And so let's sit together. And so just beginning to incline the mind, that's the beginning of intention, sama sankappa, the second factor in the Noble Eightfold Factors, sama sankappa, intentioning stillness, intentioning peace. Intentioning non-separation, no division. And we begin simply here. We don't move out to all those lofty goals. We start with our own body minds. We join them here. This is the beginning of all coming together. That's the definition of samadhi, drawing together. And so with intention, we call to mind the wish for happiness, for ease, for well-being, for the end of aggression, harm, for not only ourselves, but all beings. And we begin like this. And so we no longer pray for another moment. We no longer pray for something else. We don't pray for different conditions. We pray to be the fertile soil, the circumstance, the model. The source for all peace beginning right here. And so we enter the body with friendliness. With gentle, kind care. We feel the feet and we wish them well. And then the legs and then the hips. May they be well. And the back and the shoulders, the arms. The hands. May they be well. We feel the connectedness of the head, the stillness, the balance. May this head be well. And may we breathe down and with each out breath begin to feel the whole front of the body, the face, the throat, the chest, the belly. With each out breath, we soften. We release all aggression. We lay down the weapons of our own mind. May this front of the body be well. And then we once again, with intention, find a place within the body. Maybe for you, the chest, the diaphragm, the belly, the abdomen. A place within the body that is already at peace. And with each out breath, we soften the whole of the body around it so that it too can be at peace. And as we soften the body, what naturally happens is that we open the heart as we make connection to ourselves with these wishes for ease, for well-being. And be watchful of the habit for thinking about ease. This is not the practice. We let go of all thinking. We dissolve it with each out breath. It's not useful here. There is this present moment, this breath. And that softening body. We find the object called that sensation of breath, the breath in the body, or that whole out breath. There's many options for that directed attention. And we commit ourselves to it fully as we commit ourselves to peace. feel as directly as you can the sensations of the breath. There is no other moment. The mind moves and we smile. Awareness itself observes all movements and is not lost in them. You smile and simply begin again this one out breath. There's a long breath or a short one, a pleasant breath, one you don't like as much, breath that is smooth and jagged and jerky and completely released. And we breathe and be with them all. Be watchful of the habit of mind to seek something else. There is only this one breath. It is more than sufficient. this recognizing thought as thought and returning to the direct, immediate experience of the breath, bare attention is the practice. And as that sense of separation of self begins to dissolve with the dissolving body, we begin to recognize the breath as the breath of all beings. This is not my breath. This is not my life. This is not my awareness. This is the breath of all beings who wish for peace. There is no resistance, no struggle. There is no other way. We simply recognize the breath, engage, stay close, move closer. This is the path to peace. The body in stillness, softened, settled, at peace. Peace in the in-breath in its rise and in its fall. The mind awareness itself unobstructed. And then for some of us, even the breath itself will begin to fall away for the unified, pacified, peaceable quality of awareness itself. You can feel that oneness, that ease. And the breath is available, but not required. We can settle back then into awareness itself. We are not seeking objects here, but neither do we reject them. It is the quality of mind itself, unmoving, non-resistance, no struggle, peace. And because there is no separation, there is nothing to cling to. And then we are breathing, being peace. We let the whole mind, the whole body, one's whole being be informed by this peace. we can then gather the peace, this felt sense, this knowing, this abiding nature of peace, and we can direct it then beyond our own body mind. And we can invite others in. In this most open-hearted quality, we can invite in all those from the Ukraine. May they all be safe and well. We invite in all those from Russia. May they be safe and well. We invite in all those who are in fear, all those who are in aggression, in hatred, in confusion. May we all be safe and well. May we invite in all those we have harmed. May they be safe and well. May they have peace. May we invite in the confused, the fearful, the hateful, the greedy, the wanting, the not wanting part of ourselves. May we be safe and well. May we have peace. And just as we forgive, just as we ask for mercy, just as we come to understand and unconditionally hold those parts of us, the perpetrators in us, may we hold the perpetrators in others. May they be safe and well. May they have peace. And then there is only peace. May we all be safe and well. May we all have peace. May there be peace. Breathing it in and sending it out. And may the heart remain open. And this mind clear seeing and steady. And may this practice this morning contribute. Leslie says here, can we be present with Putin together? Just be with him, be aware of his pain, share appreciation of his underlying intentions for peace, for happiness, for freedom. Free him. Let his pain be transformed. Yes, I think so. And so then what do you know from this mind? What do you know?
Same fears.
We all have the same fears. We all have the same pains. We all have the same autopilots. We all have the same wish. Yeah. No difference. And then what does it take to forget so that we can put it all on that one or that one? And then we forget what? I already know. I can be murderous. It's right here. I don't have to get all the way into Russia. I don't have to do it. It's right here. I have to know the truth of this. And the only way I can know that is if I am still enough not to be lost in the avalanche, right? I have to be able to see something about it. Its movements, its seeds, its incarnations. As I am threatened, as I am fearful, as I perceive threat. Right? And then we go, what did you need in that moment? What did you need? Did somebody slap you? Did it help? We all need that stability, don't we? We all need somebody to go, oh, I know, I see clearly, I can hold you in this, right? This is what mothers do for their 2-year-olds. These crazy, overstimulated, right? Like, no, wait, I'm going to create a space for you that's safe. You're safe here. I'm not going to let you do harm, right? I'm going to hold you in a steadiness, a certain kind of stillness, a certain kind of, right, abiding presence. I'm going to invite that becomes the most loving, doesn't it? When you see it, you go, gosh, that's amazing. And as we talked about last week, it doesn't mean that everything is okay. It doesn't mean you get to do anything, right? It doesn't mean you get to hit your brother. It doesn't mean you get to, right? And there's a restraint factor here. And we have to work on that for ourselves first before we can hope to save others. It has to come out of that to see clearly what is most needed. right? And I think we're doing that a little bit. We're putting kind of restraints and going, well, no, you can't use your money to buy more no, can't do that. You know, we're not going to let you fund more, right? That's a way of, that is the first pattern. That's the first intention, by the way, in Sama Sankappa. The very first intention is renunciation. That means stop just acting out, so that you can get to a little bit of calm, stability, steadiness, ease, to see what actually is needed. You know, like the Buddha used the example of a good surgeon who stays in contact with his surgery. He doesn't go to sleep. He doesn't leave the surgery, right? He stays in connection, but with a steadiness, right? Can you imagine? That surgeon's not hearing, seeing anything. He's right there, right? Like, this is it. This is my commitment, right? And that's that quality of mind. It's really the same one that then sees what is needed and then sees how to contribute in the best way. I think one of our I'm hearing it a lot now is, what do I do? What do I do? Right? Well, don't do anything first. You might want to just get stable. You just might gather your, right? Just get here might be your best start. And then, says every teacher I've ever sat with, and the Buddha himself, and then you might just be peace right here. And then be peace with your family, and be peace with your neighbors, and be peace with the people you like, and then be peace with the people you don't like. That would be something you could do that would really matter. And then, of course, right, to go, yeah, how do I then, right? And then whether you give money or you send prayers or you gain information to figure out how you can contribute, right? It's all good. One way. There's any infinite possibilities and ways, but in your distress, we have to attend to that first, because in your distress, what's the probability you will cause other distress? We know this for sure.
It's interesting. I mean, I just really resonate with that. About 1:30 a.m. My 16-year-old still wasn't home last night. As I got more and more distressed. Couldn't find him, couldn't reach him, didn't hear from him. So I got in the car, I drove around, got home, got on his computer, figured out I could find his phone, found out some other, he lots of friends, they're out partying, have no idea where he is. And I pinged his phone and I found it. And I played a sound, I drove over to this kid's house right now. And first in the garage, these two boys were just, sleeping, which is my first thing is great. He's okay. But
he's
boy,
breathing. This is very good.
Freaking couch. And oh God,
Yeah.
I was so pissed. But I woke him up and he was dazed and confused, literally. And I decided just to leave him there. And I went home and I slept. I came here. But before I came here, I just got there were some things I want to do in his room. So I think creating that safe space and kind of dealing with their own distress. And even I haven't been able to sleep all week. The whole Ukrainian, through my way to offer some ways to help. So that's been helpful. But I think just creating that safe space for yourself, not to be distressed. And like that surgeon, sometimes a mother is a surgeon, right?
Yes.
This is a kid who's really a positive kid, and he's obviously taking in all of high school. But I feel like just when I go home, I'm going to be centered, and I'm going to be a surgeon. I'm going to be a maternal surgeon, and
Yes.
figure out how I create that safe space to find out what's going on. And, so anyway, I really appreciate this morning the message. As usual, it hits home. Thanks for letting me share.
Yes.
I'm tired.
I bet you are. Sometimes we're all tired, and knowing that we're tired is a wisdom. Isn't it by itself? Knowing the tired? Because then you may choose less than
This
more.
might be more in this case.
I'm innocent.
It's
With
a lot
all
of
the
activity.
parents in the room who have children who have survived, sometimes less, right? But presence,
Yes.
not with ignorance, denial, avoidance, but presence.
Love,
That's what it gives you.
a little higher guardrails. but
Yeah. Like don't know what we're gonna do. I remember a time, speaking of lands, and I'm just gonna use it as an example because we all have a billion, right? My son on the first day of driving drove 6 kids down to a concert. And in fact, for that day, we said, it's Saturday, you may not be good. No, I got to get my license today. It's a little interesting. There was a lot of energy in it. And I thought, wow, this kid's super committed to driving. And he was an athlete. And so consequently had good eye hand and drove well. And we didn't have any fears. And he said, oh yeah, I've got this concert tonight and I'm going to be going. And I'm taking the Jeep and it's pretty good. And we let him. We let him. And I call the next mom and I say, did Tyler stop by yet? Oh yeah, he's got Jason. Great. 6 kids. 6 kids in a car. They get all the way down to the venue. And I say, do you think it's time to go get him? Yeah. Yeah. Right, we go. He sees me in the club.
Oh, yeah.
Can't even see. Like my mom, the ghost, and we walk in. I don't say anything. I don't even say, come out. I just walk out. Of course, he walks right out. The other kids stay in,
Yeah, what's going on?
hiding, cockroaches hiding, right? And he goes to hand me his license. And I say, oh no, I'm not the police. I'm not the police. This is worse. Right? This isn't about the license. I'm not the DMV. Right? And of course, what? This is the beginning of continuous training for us all. Continuous acts of steadiness, stability in the face of potential harm or even death. Right? Right.
Yeah, I just sent the shot of the computer with the
Yep.
skizzles and highlights and selection of what he's been buying.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna send him a pic.
Yeah.
And see where we go.
And your stability will make whatever you do next a contribution, won't it? It will be a contribution. There's no one way, there's no one thing, but in your steadiness, and also that steadiness, and this is what I love about this practice, it will let you know when you are no longer steady. Isn't that beautiful? You even know that. You will know not steady right there. Like, no, heated, words coming out, energy, right? Fearing thoughts. And then you can do what? Well, just from the noticing, and then maybe take a step back again. Right. And we're all doing them, right? We're all inviting an action, and then we take a little step back. We're doing it with the Ukraine, aren't we? We said, is this enough? Can you figure it out with this? Oh, maybe not. Okay. Well, now we're going to, then Germany, and then the UK, and then
And I think that
Switzerland.
goes to even making a contribution, work or small in any way,
That's right.
whatever it is.
That's right.
Whether it's monetary or said something or you comfort a Ukrainian friend or something.
Yes.
Anything. I think that contribution is. Yeah. I don't know. I think that's-
And you make it wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Right. That's the point. That's the point. You make it wholeheartedly, which is I can do this today. And whatever you do, know that the very best thing you can do is be peace. Really, there is no amount of money before it. In fact, the money's easier. I have to tell you, it's easier to give $100, isn't it? Than this. This is like, no, no, no. And this is all of our work, and it is worthwhile. It does benefit all beings. It is the hardest thing, the easiest thing, the best thing that you can do, right? And then we will learn how to create a world ultimately where rather than just bomb somebody back, right, which is our habit, which however well it works for a minute, doesn't work in the long run. It only is the final measure, right? That we can say no. And we keep finding the way. But I would say, look at your own life. Again, just as we did last week. And Sama Sankappa, that second noble eightfold path says, set a direction with the map. And so one of the directions is peace, isn't it? Set the direction. Say, I am fully committed to this. And then you call it up again and again and say, how do I live that right now? And then that becomes the map for the present moment. How do I live peace right now? And sometimes peace is taking the knife out of someone's hand, isn't it? Sometimes we have to go, no, you can't do that. Right? We get this. We know it deeply, I think. And can you see how the traded presence matters? Yes, you could. Yes, you could. Couldn't you? You could see how it matters. Because you will make a greater decision for peace, said Leanne, now, than when you were all, what am I going to do? And I can't believe he did it. And what about this? And then what about that? And that movement we actually know is chaotic and disruptive. To that capacity for stable mind, open-heartedness, they all go together. Don't they? Continuous, they go together.
I wish I could become a mom for the first time again.
Don't you?
Let's go back and do it right this time.
Don't you wish?
So we get second chances.
Yes. Yes, we do. We do it all over to get it right. That's right. Sometimes 5, 6, 8 times. Who knows? Well, if you know that there's an error, again, you are on the path to not creating it again. When you go, whoops, that didn't work last time. But look, it's still not working. And that is a part of the path, isn't it? It's a part of the path. You have to try because that lack of wisdom is then still there. So we keep at it. And I know for me that this practice, especially now, is essential. And then what I do for the Ukraine, or I don't do for the Ukraine, or I do for Russian-Ukraine peace, or whatever I do, I'm looking right here at my own life right now. What do I do right now and here to invite that peace? And Sama, meaning wise, complete, good, right? And Sankappa, meaning resolve, is the word I'm using. Right resolve, right? It has an energy in it, doesn't it? Not just an idea. Right resolve. I'm going to keep heading in that direction, even when it's hard, and even when I don't know, and even when, right? And what can I do? I can abide. I can get still. I can get stable. I can give up the me, you idea.
So it'll be another Ukraine. And another.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
until we're all
That's right.
there.
Right. Right. We're all Russia and we're all the Ukraine, aren't we? We're capable of it all. Remember that beautiful poem by Ty, right? I am the pirate and I am the victim. I am the caterpillar, the moth, and the frog that eats them. And can I recognize instability in unity, really, right? Rather than separating myself from it so that I cannot see. I have to, right, really get right in there with rage. I've really got to get intimate and friendly with hatred and ill will and judgment and condemnation so that I can see. I know how it happens up here at this other level because I know how it happens right here. Fear, right? Fear is how it happens. It's how it always happens.
I'm just thinking that if you really, really understand and believe in empathy,
Yes.
really, then how could it be any different with Putin?
It can't.
Just like me.
He's just like all of us. Putin is
And when I
all of
put
us.
him over there as this bad guy that's just doing all, he is. I mean,
Yes, like we all do.
there's no question about that.
Yes, and he is.
But when I separate myself with my heart,
Yes.
that's when the farm starts.
It will be perpetuated,
And it's the same with my wife or
isn't it?
anybody else.
The minute you go, you over there, and that's the beginning of the separation that we understand is delusional. It is delusional. Truly, I mean it. It's delusional.
Totally.
It's so crazy, isn't it? Right in our own home, right in our own bed, right in our own house, right? We go the other, as if our own well-being, as if our own happiness, as if our own was not wholly embedded in that, right? Because it is, isn't it? There's no way to happiness. Even if you can kill them and get rid of them, right? Doesn't work. Even if you can hate them, let's go, no, not like me. It doesn't really work. We already know this in the stable mind. In the open heart, we already know, and then we cry, don't we? For all the mistake, like, wow. For all the times I called the name, for all the times I made the face, for all the times I was like, you, if I could only get rid of you.
Why is there so much fear in the dissolution of you, of me?
Because we mistake it for who we really are. Whether
But
it's
we
a
know it.
body, whether, no, we know it on the one hand,
Yeah.
and we forget
Yeah.
attachment, right?
Mm.
So we don't like aging, we don't like, right, illness, we don't like death. What are we doing? Clinging to what? Some small, limited, artificial, most typically version of ourselves. Don't we? We go, I'm only that. Whether it's the body, right? We forget completely. The mistake is horrendous.
Yeah, where do you draw the line between this notion of belonging, which I fully subscribe to, but at times where there probably needs to be some separation just for your own self-preservation?
Yeah,
I struggle with that a little bit.
yeah. You can separate out of love, can't you? Which is, I am not in a position yet, out of my own imbalance, out of my own fear, out of my own inabilities to restrain or to renounce. We are better with a safe distance between us. And sometimes we do it for another as well, don't we? We go, I see your confusion. I see your distress. I see your addiction. I see your, right? And so I have to create, again, a safe space, lovingly, actually, with love, to go, no, we can't do this. I wouldn't call it tough. I don't like the word. Yeah, it's creating loving space. I'm going to hold you. You're kicking and screaming. I'm going to hold you a little like this, right? So that I don't get whacked in the process. That's not helpful or skillful. I'm just going to create a space for you. And I don't think we distance from that. I don't think we stop loving from there. I think we say, I love you. I have a half brother. I've talked about him 100,000 times, right? He's dangerous. That mind, that seeking, wanting, craving, I get to have, I'm gonna take, right? Out of what always not enoughness is operating in him, his addictive mind. So he doesn't, right? I've created loving space. I send him loving kindness, sometimes money, sometimes, as Pema says, a cup of coffee and a warm blanket. Right? That. Not in disconnect, but in safety for all. Right? Safety for all. And so there might be a safety for all, means right now, there's no way for this to be safe because someone's usually lost in a delusion. Like Putin, there's no real way today for us to go have tea. Is there? Doesn't mean that's not the forever aspiration. And it can't love look like that. Right? I believe that is love.
Yeah, I think the more isolated somebody feels,
Elevates the
Yeah, it elevates
reactivity,
it.
the distress, the
Yeah.
reactivity, right?
I'm thinking of a family member, my wife's family, who was scammed. So her sons isolated her completely. And what happened, and Maureen, on the other hand, has just really reached out to her. And we know that it happened.
Yeah.
But that is now spread to more family members that are starting to go and talk to her.
Yes.
Whatever, and it's really made a giant difference.
Yes, doesn't it?
Yeah, but when she was isolated, it was bad news. Yeah.
We can buy in. We can buy into the delusion. Right? And but what do we know? It only takes one clear seeing other to change everything. As Joko would say, be the drop, that one drop in the ocean that changes it. Right? And even though you can't see it, does not mean the change is not actually there. And I love the imagery of that. And I love the truth of that. Because I know if I can be that drop, so can you, and so can you. And that you will. Out of the what? The genuine feeling of peace and ease. You go, I want that again. I want to do that again. And we know that there is no ease that comes out of aggression, even when we have to do it. Right? It's not what anybody really, not from that place, not what we really want to do. Doesn't mean I'm not going to do what has to be done. Again, this is that constant conversation. Where is that line? Well, we begin with ourselves, our own open-heartedness, our own loving intention. And then whether we're talking to somebody or not talking to somebody, that's not really the point. Is it? It's not really the point. Just know which mind it is not talking. Is that for everyone's safety? It might be. Well, then it might be right. Is that to punish, to isolate? Then, well, that might be a different thing. And then, you better rush in, as they say, right? You better rush in.
Which is kind of what I'm thinking about Putin, because I know that he's been in this bubble. The more that we can open the communication lines, is the better.
That's right.
So are the sanctions. We should open our hearts to that.
That's right.
I'm hoping that the world does more.
I actually do know, and I've been reading about this as I've been looking at how do we support Russia also? How do we support those poor people and those soldiers who are going? We didn't even know where we were going. We just got told, shoot at that, bomb that, hit. We didn't even know that it was next to the church. We didn't know it was, and I believe that also, by the way, as we, right, half the time don't know what's going on and why we're doing it. And my father never knew why he was in Korea one day. Not one day. He just heard they were a threat. That, right? And he believed people wouldn't say that if it wasn't true. That's it. And had to spend a lifetime, probably a couple, if there's such a thing, going, I killed all those people. But we're doing it in small moments, aren't we? By going Putin, the villain, right? And how can we all hold everyone? Well, you can't do that if you can't hold that in you. If you can't hold that hating, fearful, angry, if you can't hold it in you, how could you hope to hold that in somebody else? And if you are holding it in you, you go, oh yeah, I see that. I get that. I know that because I've done that. And I know what works for me, which is to feel some compassion for my own suffering.
So I got a question. So, the Dalai Lama said something like this. If he was in a dream or something like that, somebody was there that was going to fall,
Yes,
would he be able to kill,
that's right.
least harm? I
Yes,
think he said yes.
Yes.
He did
I
say
think he
yes.
said yes.
And so, how, but not out of anger, out of,
out of a truly open heart. But if we don't practice opening it in this moment, when it's a little cold and we're a little restless and the mind's a little wandery and we don't really like, because we don't like where we got to go or what we got to do today. And we don't think this is really going to work because, right, I still got to go out there, deal with my life. Right. We start there, don't we? And he did say two things. He said, with least harm towards the greatest benefit.
greatest benefit, least harm. But I just feel myself still, I've still got that
Grip.
something going on against food
Yeah.
because I feel the harm that's being done.
Yes. And so think about the moment when you had the knife, Greg. What did you need?
Opening my heart like that.
And sometimes you needed somebody to say, put that down.
Oh, that's true.
Didn't you? That's renunciate. Put that down. We can't talk. And really, it's delicate surgery, right? See, I don't know. I don't know which comes first. Do you try the conversation? Well, sure, you do, right? And if the conversation's not working, now what? Well, now you may have to go put down the knife, or I'm going to have to put it down for you. Leanne's going to go home and say, isn't she? You have to put that down, or I'm going to, Yeah. or I'm going to have to put it down. Why? Your safety, your well-being. Right? Because those Russian people, by the way, are going to suffer terrifically. They already are, and they're going to suffer more, and there is no other way. You know what my hope is that the Russian people themselves go, we
Right.
better figure this out.
Yeah, yeah. And it's-
We better figure this thing out because we're going to starve for that guy. Right? And ultimately, I believe that can happen. I also do know that the US has what they call an open line with Putin. They have set up a special communication. So they can,
I hope that's
right? It's open. It is not closed. It is not, we're not talking to you. It can't be, can it?
can
It better not be, we're not talking to you because big trouble. We've got open lines. Anytime you call, we're going to talk. Let's figure it out.
and he's got his fingers on the nuclear.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
Well, I mean, are you thinking like, well, I mean, taking him out could be an act of kindness to the.
Right? Would you take the shot if you could?
It might be
Like, me
required,
personally, would I, if I,
I mean, just,
would it? There, what people are saying, by the way, is, will we have to take him
question.
out? Now, let's think about it. Take him out. What does that mean? How do we provide for the greatest safety, for the greatest number with the least harm?
yeah, I mean, I,
Might it get to that?
yeah, I mean, it could.
It couldn't it? But could we do it without aggression? Ah, tricky business.
Yeah, I mean,
Could we do it without hating him? Could we do it without vilifying him? Could we do it with recognizing delusion and saying, right,
well, then there's always the retaliation.
that's right. And we have to count on it also. See, I don't know any quick fixes, but I do know this. Wait a minute. If I can be here, if I can be still, if I can be open, whatever is going to come out of my mouth is better than if I'm going, you it's better, right? And that's at every macro, micro, every other level. We are already way past time. This is an ongoing conversation. But before it is a conversation, before the conversation, we have to steady the mind. Because you can't have this conversation with your friends. Your friends are going to say what my friends do, blow the fucker up. They say, I understand. I get it. I just want to be safe. I just want my family to be safe. I don't want a nuclear war. I get it. Guess what's not going to happen? We can't get safe. Not really. Our children's children cannot be safe with just blow the fucker up. Can it? No, I wish it were true.
Can't
Just
blow
poof,
the
gone.
kindness or-
And out of kindness, we may have to take the knife out of his hand. And that is also true. All right, we're going to sit for just a minute together. May we all have peace. May we all be peace. May we do so this breath. And then this one. And then this one. Until we all have peace. And may our practice contribute that this be so this very day with those we love and those we don't love. And may the practice continue. Thank you all so much. And thank you all for sticking around there on Zoom. That's truly inspiring because I don't even think you could have heard half the conversation. This is why being here helps, doesn't it? This is why being here matters. This is why we have so many people here on a cold Saturday when it's windy and may rain again. And this is why we'll be here next Saturday also. Right. You're so welcome, everyone. Be well, everyone.
So grateful. Thank you.
Yes, you're so welcome, Julie. Be well. Thank you, Larry.
Thank you.
I hope so. That was so wonderful. I'm so glad.
You were talking about your son in the car.
Yes.
I went back to the first time my dad let me drive the car to school when I was 16. I left early, picked up a friend, his girlfriend,
Yes.
took them to the airport so they could run away.
Yes.
They got on a plane, flew away. I said, don't tell me where you're going.
Yes.
Next thing you know,
Yes.
in the middle of all
Oh,
this,
no.
first time.
Yep. There you go.
So I could-
You understand. And you know, this is like putting a gun in a baby's hand a little bit, isn't it? Whether it's a car or a drug or a, right?
Put you in a position.
And you don't totally know
Not
how
make
to,
the best decision.
you don't know how to use it yet. You don't, there my son was just like, wow, there it is. I can,
I can.
yeah. Be well, everyone.
Well, thank you.
Yes, Larry, I will see you again. Wonderful to see you.
Step back.
Stay close.
Just
Get a little
hang,
closer.
just hang.
He'll get through.
Take care of our own yard, says Jeanette. Thank you so much, guys. All right,
That's
we're
okay.
clicked off
Take-
here, I think.
Talking plastic.